Hi, kiddos. I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder this time so that maybe you can hear me a little bit better in the video. Today we are going to be going over operations and algebraic thinking. This is something that is very important to know how to do. It's not necessarily setting up a problem with some variable in the problem, but it's just a process of thinking to try to figure out how to solve different types of problems and the order that we need to do them in. The learning goal for today says I can write simple expressions with numbers and interpret numerical expressions without evaluating them. So they're wanting us just to be able to write the expressions, but not only write them, but to be able to read them and know what they mean. So there's two notes that we need to take today. Please remember to pause as needed. The first note is the order of operations. This you have seen me write many, many times as, let's see if it will write for me today. I guess not. Let's see. Now, it's not going to cooperate with me today. Um, I wish it would. It'd be great. Of course not. All right, so you've seen me write it as P E M D left to right and A S left to right. You've seen me write this many, many times. You must follow it in this order. Every time you need to start back at the beginning and go over. So when you solve the parentheses, you solve it right here, and then you write the rest of the problem exactly as it is. Then you would solve if you had exponents, which you don't do that until sixth grade now. You solve that, bring the rest of the problem down exact. Then you multiply or divide left to right. So I've got to come back right here. And notice this was an improper fraction, so it had to be divided out first. And then you would do the multiplication. And you write your problem over again just like this, and then you add or subtract left to right. So pause, take these notes as needed. The next page is going to be a little bit longer. This has to do with the vocabulary that we need to be able to not only know, but to be able to use when we discuss any kind of math problems. So you have dividend, um, you have equation, product, divisor, multiply, divide, factor, and quotient. I'm not going to read all of these to you because you are fifth graders, almost sixth graders, and I know you can read. So pause, take these notes as you need to. Notice right here, this is something I thought was interesting, though. They have dividend, the answer to a multiplication equation. And you're going to say, no, that's a product. But notice where it is located. It is the number that is being divided out. So that's what that's talking about. So you have dividend here, and then this would be your divisor, and this would be your quotient. So make sure that you're paying close attention to what they're talking about. I thought that was interesting the way they worded it. I'm not going to turn you loose just today and let you go because I know that you need to be able to follow along with these. It's just pretty much us talking about it that helps solve these problems. It says, which expression represents the following phrase? Multiply 4 by 6, then add 8. Think about that order of operations. What would come first automatically? We would multiply 4 by 6, and then we add 8. So now multiply 4 by 6 and then add 8. Does this look like it? This is 4 times the sum of 6 and 8. So this is 4 times the sum of 6 and 8. That's not it. This is 6 times the sum of 4 and 8. No. Right here we have 4 times 6 plus 8. So this one would be correct right here. Sorry, my scribbling is off and doing its thing. So down here, let's try to read this one. This would be 4 times the sum of 8 and 4. So make sure that you're knowing how to read these. It is very important. On number 2, which expression represents the following phrase? The sum of 9 threes and 8 fours. So the sum, we know then that that's going to have us adding right there. But it says the sum of, what are we adding? It says 9 threes. How could we show 9 threes? That would be 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, all the way up to 9 times me saying that. So that would be 9 times 3 and 8 fours. So that would be 8 fours. That'd be 8 times 4. So we have right here 9 times 3 plus 8 times 4. So this would be the sum of 9 threes and 8 fours. So A is where our answer is. Right here, we would have the product of the sum of 9 and 3 and 8 and 4. Let's see, we would have, let me try this again. I stumbled on that one. We would have the product of the sum of 9 and 3 and the product of 8 and 4. Yeah, that was a mouthful. Here we would have the sum of 9 and 3 and the sum of 8 and 4. And down here we just have 93 plus 84. All right, so on number 3, select the statement that describes the expression. Here we have 63 divided by 9 plus 15. So A says the quotient of 9 and 63 added to 15. The quotient of 9 and 63 added to 15. All right, then we have B, divide 63 by 9 and then add 15. And then we have the sum of 9 and 15 divided by 63. And then we have on D, 63 divided by the sum of 9 and 15. So C and D just sounds ridiculous. So we look back here at A and B. On A, you have the quotient of 9 and 63 added to 15 with a quotient of 9 and 63. That just does not sound right, and that would be 9 divided by 63, not 63 divided by 9. So B is your correct answer. Divide 63 by 9 and add 15. So on number 4, you have select the statement that describes the expression. Inside parentheses, 12 times 8, subtract 6. So here we have 8 minus 6 times 12. Well, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever because they have us multiplying 6 and 12 and subtracting 8. That makes no sense. Here we have 12 eighths and 6. Well, that and 6 would mean adding 6, so that doesn't make sense. On C, we have 12 times the difference of 8 and 6. So this is saying 12 times, and then you have difference, which is subtraction of 8 and 6. So no. Then we have multiply 12 and 8 and then subtract 6. D is correct right here. Let's look at number 5. It says the expression below is described in words. Create the expression using numbers and operations. So when I taught this in class and we would read these, I would have you write the symbols above it. So let's try this. It says 6 times, so we put the multiplication symbol, the sum of, so this is going to be add, 7 and 3. So we're multiplying the sum of 7 and 3. So we have to do 7 and 3 before we multiply it by 6 because we don't know what we're multiplying it by. So how do we show the sum of 7 and 3 first before we do the 6? Multiply it by 6. Because remember, order of operations. So we have to look at this and say 6 times, and I'm just going to write it the way that it says, 7 plus 3. But now, I have got to make sure that we add these first. And if I come back to here, we see that multiply divide is before addition subtraction. See, is it this one? Yes. So it would be 6 times 7 plus 3 if we left it this way. So remember that to be able to add these first, we have to put these in parentheses. So you can just rewrite this right here and you're good to go. So on number 6, the expression below is described in words. Create the expression using numbers and operations. So we have the sum, and sum means what? To add. The sum of 7 threes and 8 twos. So this is wanting 7 threes. I don't have room to write 7 threes here. So I'm going to do 7 times 3. And then it has 8 twos. So I'm just going to do 8 times 2. So now, how can I write this so that I have the sum of these? So I'm going to write it this way. 7 times 3 plus, having problems writing on this, kiddos, 8 times 2. So now we would have 7 times 3, and we would solve 8 times 2, and then we would add those two together because of the order of operations. Just write that in your box and you're good to go. On number 7, the expression below is described in words. Select the expression that matches the words. Amy had 23 blocks. She gave 7 blocks to Isabella and 5 blocks to Alexa. So if you give something away, what operation matches that? To give something away. So we subtract. So she gave, and that's subtraction, 7 blocks to Isabella and 5 blocks to Alexa. So she is given 7 and 5 blocks away. All right, so now let's look at this. We have 23 subtract 7 plus 5. Did she at any point gain 5 blocks? No. So here we have 23 subtract the sum of 7 and 5. Well, if you're giving 7 blocks to one friend and 5 blocks to another friend, could we add that amount together and then be able to have that sum? Absolutely. B is the correct answer. So then you have C. We're just going to look at these. 23 subtract 7 and 5. Well, that would be the correct order of numbers written down, except if we were solving this, we would do 23 subtract 7 and then add 5, and that is wrong. And then right here, at no point did we have 23 taken away. So these can't be. So B is the correct answer. All right, get ready for the next set of